Hey, welcome back. We are on our part 6 of our series in the book of Romans. Wow, 6 weeks. We've gone through a lot of stuff all about Paul's book to the church in Rome. So we're going to continue, but we're going to go back a little bit. Last week we looked at Romans chapter 12, but we're going to now rewind a little bit and go back to Romans 8 to look at a different section than what we looked at before. Let's look at Romans chapter 8. We're going to read verse 18 to 21. And it reads, I consider that our present sufferings are not worthy of comparing with the future glory that will be revealed to us. For the creation waits in eager expectation for the children of God to be revealed. For the creation was subject to frustration, not by its own choice, but by the evil will of those who would subject it, in hopes that the creation itself would be liberated from bondage and decay and brought into the freedom and glory of the children of God. So, what does that mean? Basically, what it's saying here is, I know things suck really bad right now, but what's coming next, it's pretty awesome. And, right now it sucks this much. But the awesome level of what's to come is it doesn't even compare. Like, the amount of awesomeness that is going to happen is well worth the amount of crap that's going to happen right now. So think of it this way. Okay, picture this. I have a plot of land about the size of the room that you're in right now, and I want to grow a huge garden. But the only problem is the ground, it's full of rocks. So you're gonna need to dig, we're gonna need to dig out the rocks. We need to haul the rocks away. We need to bring in some good topsoil and just spread it out and plant the garden. Who's here ready to volunteer for that job? Anyone? Anyone? Really? Really? Nobody? Nobody? Why not? Why don't you want to volunteer for this job, you know? It's going to be a great garden. Why not? I'm thinking probably it's because this is really going to be back-breaking labor. I mean, have you ever tried to get big rocks out of the ground? They're rocks. They're heavy, and they are kind of wedged in there. Like, it's hard work getting rocky soil to produce any real vegetation because it's back-breaking labor. And remember, this is going to be my garden, so you'd be doing all that work and there would be no benefit to you. You're not going to be getting fruits or vegetables or any of that kind of stuff. But even if you were sharing in the results of the garden, still, the amount of work, it's not worth it. Okay, now think of the same job, but what if I was willing to pay $50,000? Would you do the job then? Anybody? $50,000. Yeah, I think we got a few more takers probably. Why would you be willing to do it for $50,000? It's the same amount of work. It's the same amount of back-breaking labor that nobody wanted to do before. Why would you do it, for $50,000? Huh? Anybody? Because it's worth it. Yeah, it's still a lot of work. There's a lot that goes into getting these rocks out and carrying them away. But it might be a 2-3 day job, and 2-3 days of ridiculously hard labor for $50,000. Yeah, that might be worth it. Just a little bit. And it's the same way that this passage is talking about. Things are rough. Life is hard. There's a lot of obstacles in your way. There's a lot of things that you have to remove that doesn't want to be removed. There's a lot of weight that you have to carry. But the payout, man, the payout is going to be well worth it. That's what this scripture passage is saying here. Okay, now the next section in Romans 8. Romans 8:22 and 23. Let's read. It says, "We know that whole creation has been groaning as in the childbirth rites up to the present time. Not only so, but we ourselves, who have the first fruit of the Spirit, groan inwardly as we wait eagerly for our adoption of sonship, the redemption of our bodies." Interesting picture it paints. It's saying that all of creation groans as in childbirth. I know most of you students don't really have much experience in the process of childbirthing, but as someone who was there for my son being born, I will say that childbirthing, it's a painful, exhausting, dramatic experience. And you know what? My wife didn't quite care for it either. Oh, yeah, I'm just kidding. The process of going through birth was horrendous just for me, and I didn't actually have to birth him. But, funny story about when my son was born. Heather, she was in back labor. So she wasn't laying on her back, squeezing my wrist like you see in the movies. She carried the labor in her back, so she had to be standing up, facing me, and then she'd bear down on my shoulders whenever the contractions came. And so I felt very little of the pain that she was going through as she squeezed down and the pain that was going through. Well, for one of the contractions, her hands that were on my shoulders moved ever so slightly onto my neck, and she bared down on my carotid artery.
Can't breathe.
Yes, I'm a bit nervous myself.
And down I went. Oh, yeah. I needed my own doctor at that point. Yeah. They were afraid that she crushed my carotid artery and I went down. The experience, it was rough, it was traumatic, and that was just my little experience. The birthing process is something that I don't understand why people want second kids after they go it a first time. Like, why would you want to go through that again? It's because that pain, that agony, that experience, once the baby gets there, quickly turns to joy. It's like that pain, that agony is nothing compared to the joy when you receive your child and all that goes along with that. That's what this verse is saying. All of creation it's in waiting in pain and agony as in childbirth. But what is it waiting for? It's waiting for Jesus Christ to return and to make everything new, to make everything right. And then that pain turns into joy. That's what we wait for. That's what we eagerly are in anticipation over. All right, now for the next part. Romans 8:24 to 25. For in this hope we are saved. But hope that is seen is not hope at all. Who hopes for what they already have? But if we hope for what we do not yet have, we wait for it patiently. Right here, right now, it's kind of a mixed bag. There's some fun that we have, there's some enjoyable times, but there's a lot of garbage. There's a lot of really tough things that we have to go through. But our hope, it isn't in the here and now, it's for something greater. This doesn't mean that we sit on our hands and we do nothing waiting for Jesus, but we are given hope knowing that what we're going through now is not all there is. heaven and eternity with God will make everything worth it. It makes what we do now worth it because we know there's something greater to come. God, He has an amazing plan for us. There will be some joy. There'll be some joy right now, but there will also be some suffering. It's like I said, it's a mixed bag. But for eternity, it's all joy. There's nothing sad. It says that have every tear wiped away from our eye. Everything will be perfect because we'll be with God forever. Paul urges us in this chapter to keep our eyes focused on Jesus. Don't be distracted by the garbage. Don't be distracted by the pain. Don't go, why is this all happening to me? And just want to give up. Don't get discouraged. Keep our eyes focused on Jesus and look to heaven as our reward. Like I said, it's not that we sit on our hands and do nothing, but we know that what God has called us to do here on earth, the difficulties that come from that, it's all going to be worth it. Now it's time to hear from you. We're going to discuss what does this look like in our day-to-day lives. Have great discussion.